Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Divine Cupid podcast. If you're new, I'm your host, India Watson, and if you're not new, welcome back. So guys, welcome back to another episode of my podcast. Oh, I have a hair, I'm like floating my face. Okay, there. We have a new setup. Obviously, we have my little camera, my microphone, it's in my face, hanging up. I like propped it up to where it's like giving what it needs to give, I hope. And I'm not gonna lie, I've recorded this episode so many times. I've hated each one. One of my biggest pet peeves is having so much to say, putting out a camera, getting my setup ready, boom, mind blank. It feels like, boom, I don't know what I need to say anymore. And it's very frustrating because all my podcast episodes come from the dome. So when I feel like things aren't making sense, I'm like, oop, excuse me, I had to burp. Oop, let's stop this. Let's start over. Let's regroup. I think now in my life, I want to like document everything. I want to document every thought, every feeling, every emotion, every sad cry. I don't think I'm ever going to cry on my podcast, like ever. Like if you're like on my podcast, like, oh, can't wait to see her cry. Like that will never happen. I don't think so. But I do want to start documenting like more important things in my life and more insignificant things in my life because everything is important. Every single thing in your life is important. Even the small things, the things that you think have the least amount of significance are so freaking important. And I've been really like trying to understand different parts of myself and different parts of my life and what I want out of my life and who and what and why I'm living. Like, who am I living for and what am I living for and why am I living? Like, what is my purpose? Why is this my purpose? What good can I get out of this lifestyle? And like, how can my lifestyle benefit me and my lifestyle choices? So on my podcast account on TikTok, I actually was speaking into existence a new routine for my life. I have wanted to start working out at 5 a.m. I am an afternoon workout girly. I'm an after work workout girly. Like I am it's 6 o'clock. Let's go to the gym. And now I'm more of like it's 5 a.m. Like let's try to get up and go to the gym kind of person. And I'm like, oh, who's this? Like, who are you? What happened to the old me? I want to change in my lifestyle. I want to change my habits. I want to change my patterns because I feel like it'll bring upon a new level of productivity and a new level of change and a new level of like dopamine in my life. I feel like that's really what I need, like to really change my habits. To change your patterns is to change your life. That's going to be a whole new podcast episode, but I do want to start out by saying like to change your patterns is literally to change your life. You can't say, oh my gosh, I hate the life that I'm living. Like I want to do something different and continue to do the same shit every day. You will never see change. You will never see growth. You will never elevate. You will never move mountains in your own life by continuing to dwell in the same patterns and habits that you're already existing in. And I realized that, like my board, I literally keep talking about this damn board. I promise you. I think I talk about it on another podcast episode. I think I talk about it on a video diary. I literally talk about it to God. I talk about it in my voice audios. My board on the side of my room says March. It says birthday, March 26. Goals for the month. It's July. Like that's pathetic. It's July. And I've been trying to like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get around to changing the board. Do you know how insignificant it is to change a whiteboard? Like it's such an insignificant thing to do. It's such a small thing to do and it's still not done. So like I said, to change your patterns is to change your life. You can't say you want to have better habits and better goals and do better things. You haven't even started with something as insignificant as changing a whiteboard. My thing is Sunday reset, cleaning my room every Sunday. I've gotten better. I would definitely say looking around my room, like I've gotten better, but that's something that I wanted to be a more frequent thing. Going to the gym at 5 a.m, something I want to be a more frequent thing. Because if you want to change your life, you have to change your patterns. You have to understand what it is and why it is that you are doing these things. I can tell you, like, if you ask me, India, why are you waking up at 5 a.m? What is the point of waking up at 5 a.m? I feel like I need a change of routine in my life. I feel like the first time I did it, I felt really good. I felt good about myself. I felt good about the start I got in my day. I felt good about getting off work and not having to worry about, oh my gosh, like I need to go to the gym later. I need to do this. I need to do that. I still had more time in my day to do other things. It helps me time manage. It helps me prioritize my health and wellness. It helps me do things that make me feel good. It helps me feel productive. It makes me feel like I'm doing something with myself. I'm still getting my exercise in. I'm still trying to hit and reach my fitness goals. Like I'm still trying to do those things. Do everything with intention. When you are going into things in your life, set an intention with everything. And I'm not one of those spiritual people who's like setting your intentions with literally everything. I'm more of a realistic Be intentional, be on it, be purposeful with what you're doing. We do a lot of things with a lack of purpose, and we do a lot of things because we think that's what we're supposed to do. Not because we want to do it, but because that's what society is telling us to do. That's what our peers are doing. That's what we feel like we need to be doing. We constantly do things because it's a silent societal standard to do what everybody else is doing and to be how everybody else is and to feel behind because you're not 19 living in a high rise, or you're not 19 with a 6-figure job, or you're not 19 with the skinniest body, you know, everything that I feel like society has glamorized and glorified. It's like you kind of feel a silent pressure that you're not that, or that you could be doing that, or that there's more to be doing. And that's how I constantly feel. And I feel like that is such a stab in the heart, because it's like, when can you appreciate what you've done? Like, I cannot name a lot of people who are working 3 jobs just for the fun of it. Like, you can ask me, why do you work 3 jobs? I literally like to keep myself busy. I think it's fun. I literally would have a blast. I'm not going to lie. Like, yeah, I would be tired. Yeah, I would be burnt out, but I still would be like, I'm making money. I'm being productive. I'm still in school. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Like, it made me feel good about myself. But then it made me feel like when I was comparing myself to other people who were doing less work than me, they're doing so much less and getting so much more, and I'm doing so much more and getting so much less. And it's like, why are you living your life in comparison to other people? God has set different goals and different intentions for all of us. Literally, that is the sole purpose of it all. I used to have a lot of jealousy and envy. I won't even say jealousy. I used to have a lot of anger. Okay, like flat out, honest, brutal, like genuine, raw, unspoken truth. I used to have a lot of anger for the people who would do less than me, for a lot of people who would treat me bad, for I really would feel bad when people would prosper while I felt like I was still suffering. And that is so real. I hate when people act like that is not a real feeling. I hate when people act like, oh my gosh, I could never, I'm happy for everybody. It is frustrating when you feel like I'm doing so much and I see everybody else around me succeeding and it feels like I'm not succeeding. And you know why it feels like that? Because you're sitting there comparing your life to everybody else's and you're not thanking God for how far you've already come. I feel like I spent a lot of my time not angry to where it's like that anger is consuming me, but like angry as to like, God, why am I so far behind and it feels like everybody is so far ahead? God, why does it feel like I'm not doing as much as I could be doing? What is my potential? What am I supposed to be doing? For someone who constantly puts their attention and intention in so many different things, because I feel like I'm so good at so many different things, I've really struggled. Sorry, I almost choked on air. I really struggled to figure out what my genuine and true purpose is. I've always told myself for a very long time that I want to give back to the community and I want to give back to others and I want to have a life that helps people and I want to live a life that gives back and I want to live a life that is loving and to others. I feel like so many things that I've recognized within myself is what I've lacked for a very long time. I've definitely realized what I've lacked. I've held it over my head, the things that I wish I'd done better, and I've held it over my head, the things that I wish I never did. And instead of living my life in like constant remorse, because it's normal to be remorseful for mistakes you made, but it's not healthy to live your life over in a pathway of regret and in a pathway of, damn, I should have did this different and I should have never done this at all. But to look at it like, I did it, I learned from it, I'm growing from it. Like, how can I impact others? How can I help others? How can I, be an influence? And how can I be of change? Even just in insignificant things, like, you never know. Small career paths can still have big impacts, and I really want to magnify that. But I've really been trying to figure out, like, who am I living my life for? What am I living my life for? What am I doing these things for? Because when we're constantly living a life in comparison, we never live a life of joy. I have to burp. Excuse me. Oop, I feel another one coming. No. Okay. But no. Constantly living a life in comparison, we can never live a life in joy. Comparing my life to almost every person, not even almost every person, I feel like that's an exaggeration, but comparing my life to other people has definitely sucked the joy out of the life that I live in my own. I feel like when I'm looking at other people and I'm like, oh my gosh, I should be doing this or I could be doing more, I'm not really thanking God for how far I've already come. I'm not really thanking God for getting me to where I am today. And I'm not really appreciating and giving myself my flowers for what it is that I'm doing. And that's a very sad feeling. And nobody understands that. It's like when you feel like you've done so much, but you could be doing more, that's hard. Like, that's frustrating because it's like you don't even give yourself credit and your flowers for the things that you've already accomplished, but you expect yourself to keep going and keep pushing. And when you keep doing that, it never feels like there's light at the end of the tunnel because you're not even looking at how far you've made it through the tunnel, you know? Like, you're doing so much, but you're giving yourself such little credit. And that's not fair. That's not fair to you. That's not fair to the progress that you've made. That's not fair to the work that you put in, you know? And that's not fair to other people because it's like you don't know what their journey is like. You don't know what their life is like. You don't know how God is leading them. You don't know what their pathway is looking like. You're spending your life comparing yourselves to them when their journey, their destiny, their purpose is completely different than yours. And I feel like that needs to be emphasized. Another thing that I want to talk about is just like the intention as to why we're doing things. I said, like, it's very important to set your intentions into everything, but doing the inner work that I've done on myself and just like doing the reflecting and the growth and taking the steps to move from what was to what is, I've definitely had to ask myself, like, what is my point and purpose in doing this? Because at first it just felt like society is telling us, obviously, how important healing is, how important self-care is, how important self-love is, how important these things are. There's always this silent societal standard that we need to be doing things because society is telling us to do it and because it's normalized and because it's on social media and not because it's something we actually want to do. And that's weird. Is that not weird? Like, I feel like that's so weird. Like, you're changing your life not because it's something you actually want to change about your life, but because, oh my gosh, like, see these influencers, they're doing this, they're waking up this early, they're, you know, moving mountains, doing this in their life, they seem so happy, they're glowing. I want to be just like them. Why don't you want to do it for you? Why don't you want to do it because, like, you want to feel good? Like, the intention as to why you're doing something is so important because that fuels your motivation and dedication to actually getting things done. My purpose and my intent for self-growth and, like, self-improvement and, like, self-love is because I realized how much I lacked it in myself and how badly it destroyed my relationships with my family, my friends, myself, my self-esteem, you know, my self-respect. And because I no longer want those things to crumble in my life because I can't either walk away or I can't put my foot down or I'm not assertive in myself or I feel like having people around me is more important than having boundaries and self-respect. I never want to be in that boat again. I never want to be in that position again. So I make sure to never be in that boat, in that position again by continuously working on myself and working on the things that I lacked to make sure I have more of it when the situations like that present themselves, because you're never going to not bump into the same circumstances more than once. I guarantee you. I bumped into people that I'm like, damn, you remind me of someone that I met 2 years ago. Oh, and what happened? The situation is damn near worse than it was 2 years ago. Why? Because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm making the same mistakes that I made 2 years ago, except I'm letting these mistakes get progressively worse and I'm not doing anything about it. Like, what have you learned? You know, and that's why I feel like the intention of things is so important, because when you set your intention as to why you're doing something, then that, like I said, continues to drive your motivation to get it done and to move through it. When we're constantly doing things for the sake of other people or for the validation of other people, you never feel fulfilled in what you've actually done for yourself. Because it's like, I felt like for a minute, I was doing a lot of this self-improvement and this self-work to really say, aha, like, I changed, I'm this, I'm that, to walk into rooms and be like, I'm this and I'm changing, I'm not that, and I'm da-da-da-da. But it's like, okay, I remember talking to a friend and she was like, why is it so important to you to prove to others that, like, you're not on the same shit anymore? And I was like, that's a really good question. Like, why is that so important? When you feel like you're putting yourself in, no. When you are putting yourself, because it's not even a feeling, like, it's something that you're doing when you are seeking and yearning for that validation from other people. When you're doing that, all of the work that you kind of put in, like, yes, it is for you in a way, but it's for others. And you need to start doing things for yourself and not doing things for the sake of other people. You know, it needs to be, who cares what other people think? Who cares how other people feel? You know, you'll never get to experience that version of me. You'll never experience and relive that narrative of me. Whatever you think, whatever you feel, whatever you've experienced, that is no longer that. And you need to stop living and holding yourself up to a standard of, 1, what you used to be, 2, a standard of what someone else thinks you are, 3, a standard of what society wants you to be, 4, you just need to live your life for you and give yourself the same amount of grace as other people will give you, or not even other people, because people are not graceful or gracious individuals, and they don't give grace as much and as often as we genuinely should. But you need to give yourself the same amount of grace as you would give that man. Yeah, give yourself the same amount of grace as you would give that man. That man that cheated on you 5 times, the way you excuse his behavior, excuse your own behavior for making the same mistakes. Little minuscule mistakes, because I'm sure like a man that cheated on you, you're taking him back with open arms. Take yourself back with open arms. Take your mistakes back with open arms. Forgive yourself the same way you forgave that ex-boyfriend 4 years ago. Forgive yourself the same way you forgave your ex-best friend who did you so wrong. Forgive yourself the same way that you forgive people who've hurt you so much in life, but you wanted to see the good in them. See the good in yourself. Give that to yourself. Treat yourself with the same amount of love, the same amount of respect, the same amount of kindness, the same amount of grace as you do the people who have wronged you in your life. And continue to give the people who have wronged you in your life those aspects of grace, but never give them the same access that they once had. That is super important. There's so many things that I feel like I've taken away within this past couple of months or weeks of my life, because there's so much prayer and so much understanding as to why I'm doing the things that I'm doing and what is the point of doing them. I feel like it's important because when you change, for me, speaking out of experience and me alone, but my change has made me want to rekindle a lot of things with people, because I've told myself like I'm the reason that the relationships and friendships didn't work out. Even though that may not be the case, I've subconsciously told myself like it was something that I needed to work on, and trying to extend or allowing people the same access to me and instantly regretting rekindling connections with them. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, not only is it like validating to kind of know, because like one thing I firmly believe is people are going to bring up an older version of you no matter what if they cannot understand and wrap their head around the fact that you've changed. Some people do not want to see and experience a new version of you. They want to hold over an older version of you over your head. There will never be room for growth in some relationships because some people are so stuck on what was that they can't experience what is. They don't know how to. They don't know how to let go of those things. They don't know how to understand that everybody in life is changing and going through things and experiencing things at the same pace and same circumstances that they are. So they hold you to the same standard of what you used to be, because they don't know how to adapt to the standard of who you are now, how to add that and implement that into your life. And a lot of it, people will kind of mask that they've grown with you, but still, kind of throw something in your face from so long ago. And I think that's not fair. I think that's not grace. I don't think that is credible to the growth that you've made, especially if there has been so much accountability in the mistakes that you've made. I think that with change and with evolution and with evaluating who you are as a person, giving yourself that space to make mistakes and learn from them, giving yourself and the people around you that grace to be who they are and still develop into who they want to become and who they want to be. There's so much emphasis and importance in that. I just think like there needs to be more intention and reason, and I don't know if it's the word validity, like the valid reason behind why you're doing the things that you're doing and why you want to do the things that you want to do. Water time. But it's like really, do you guys get a water ASMR or no? Do you want a water ASMR next time or no? Like, let me know. But there's so much thought that goes into the things that we're doing, and I feel like we do everything so thoughtless. We do everything so intentionless, or we do a lot of things with a lack of intention behind them. And those things need to change. There needs to be more importance in why we're doing things. There needs to be more self-assurance in why we're doing things and who we're doing it for. And the validation that we kind of seek out of these things needs to come from self and not from the world and not from the people around us and not from our peers, not from the people who used to be in our lives. Like, we need to let doors be closed for good. Like, literally, I'm a firm believer in closing doors and letting them stay closed. Do not reopen that door, because I promise you there's nothing good behind it but problems waiting for ratings to happen and regret, in my opinion. That's what I've learned. And definitely setting your intention, like I said, to change your patterns, is to change your life. Whatever you set out to do it, but do it with the intention of you're doing it for you and not because you feel like that's something you need to be doing because everybody else around you is doing it. Everything needs to come from self. Everything needs to be because of self, due to self, because you want to, because you want it, because you feel like it, because that's what is coming from your heart out into the world. Like, express that. Speak life into everything. Like, literally speak life into everything that you do. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I I go into these podcast episodes with a thought. I go into these podcast episodes with a, I don't want to say intention, okay? For lack of better terms, I go into it with something that I've already experienced that I want to share. And like I said, when I get in front of a camera and I like set up my setup, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm brain rotting. I can't think of anything. And I don't, I feel like I got everything out, okay? I feel like I got everything out. And I shared all that I need to share. I don't know if you guys like the setup. Like, let me know if you think it's like, oh my gosh, girl, please grab that mic again and just hold it in your hand, because this is distracting and it's irritating and annoying. Like, let me know if you're like, I just don't like it. Because like, hello, your opinion matters too. And yeah, I love you guys so much. I'm going to go back to uploading more consistently. I think every Sunday, podcasts are going to be every Sunday thing. I'm not doing a lot on Sundays, so there should never be an excuse as to why a podcast episode isn't out. So that is another thing that I'm going to do. And right when I finish this podcast episode, I'm going to change my workboard. So I love you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful start to your week. I hope this podcast episode was very helpful, beneficial, motivational, uplifting, and all the fun stuff. If you guys enjoyed, please like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the fun stuff, do all the cute stuff. Follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is @thedivinecupid, and then follow me on TikTok. That's also @thedivinecupid. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys next Sunday. Goodbye.